Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
The least amount of compensation for the most amount of money that the team would have to match. That's why this one fell through the cracks, and we haven't seen these kind of offer sheets going in the last, since 2013. There's only been two other ones.
Have you heard the conspiracy theories, the skullduggery that Ken Holland and Chiarelli were behind this and wanted to hoop the Oilers?
I would say that's really false when it comes to Ken Holland. I would say, and I've been told this by people with strong attachments to the organization, that had Ken Holland, not only Ken Holland, but Bob Nicholson as well, and Kevin Lowe to an extent. Kevin still he knows everything that's going on with this organization. Those three brought Doug Armstrong into Hockey Canada. And had those three still had maybe stronger ties to the organization, and I'm talking more in the sense of a Holland or Bob Nicholson, then Doug Armstrong wouldn't have done this.
Are the Oilers still favorites to win the Stanley Cup in your mind with this roster as of today?
No, not as a favorite. They would have been the favorite before all of this happened, but they don't have a strong enough defense right now. You know, they've got a great first pairing, and we all know that in Evan Bouchard and Matthias Ekholm. Then you have, if you want to have Darnell Nurse in the second pairing, no one really knows where that fourth guy's who's slotting in there. Right now, it could be someone like Troy Stetcher. But then you've got at 5 and 6. A lot of people are very curious about Emberson and what he is going to be able to offer this team. He played 30 games last year in San Jose. He comes over in the Cody Ceci trade, but he also suffered a tendon cut to his leg, his foot area. That's what cost him the rest of the season last year. He's got to be ready to go. I think a lot of people are very curious to see what he offers once camp breaks here in, a month and some.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's like Ravine, the famed illusionist. He would hypnotize the whole crowd. My dad always told this joke. He goes, oh, yeah, Ravine was performing at the Center of the Arts. He had the whole room hypnotized. And he said, the next thing I say, you will all do. And he got tripped up, tangled in his mic cord and tripped and went, crap. Took him 2 weeks to get the smell out.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday, if it is a happy one for you. Welcome to the RP Show, Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show, and in America, one of them. We're coming to you live, hour one only, on Game Plus TV, Canada-wide, and on the air in 31 U.S. states on Game Plus. Of course, our radio partner is WQEE in Atlanta, and we're streaming live on YouTube. Now, I'm here in the Golden Ticket Sports Center till the end of next week, and then heading back to the USA. Moose was with us in Toronto. He is now not. That is the word that I've got in my head just before we went to air here, but Clark's going to let me just something happened with his connection, so we're good. Coming up on the program today, the voice of the CFL's Ottawa Red Blacks. He also is on the Ottawa Senators pre- and post-game show. He's the voice of the Ottawa 67s and the Blackjacks, A.J. Jakubek, in hour one. And in hour two, Toronto product, and 8-year CFL, I think it was 8 years, Mike Abomeshwa, Grey Cup champion, the guy who, well, you're going to see in a second why he brings the most value today. Those are the guests. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan, and we'll go.
Let's go.
And you got, what the hell happened with DuPont? I was literally just talking to him, and all of a sudden he's not available. Oh, well, it's one of those days. You see, I'm repping on a Canadian Football League game day, my CFLPA, where God bless the league. And God bless the Miller family. Our first point is this, and since we don't have DuPont, you can put the photo up if you'd like. Clark, beloved former Saskatchewan Roughriders head coach Ken Miller has died at age 82 after a brief battle with cancer. Kenny helped the Roughriders win their third Grey Cup title in franchise history as an offensive coordinator in 2007 before becoming the head coach the following season. Miller led Saskatchewan to the Grey Cup in 2009 and 2010, losing both times to the Montreal Alouettes. Please leave the photo up for a second, because if you could find a photo of Ken, and there have been many posted over the last 24 hours since the news came out of his passing, there isn't one that embodied Ken Miller better than that one. It's in my commentary today if you want to go read it at rodpeterson.com, and also airing on Sask Radio. There's players, coaches, and then there's Ken Miller. And that embodies it right there. The players, to a man, said they would walk through fire for him. They would lay down in traffic for him. So, of course, I asked them why. And they said because he was honest with them. And that, and I saw this many times, he would take the blame 100% of the time. And most times, he wasn't the one at fault, but he would always take the blame. And I said to Kenny one time, I was standing beside him after he took the blame after one particularly tough loss. I'm like, Kenny, if you keep taking these bullet holes, keep taking the bullet, there's going to be nothing left of you to take. He goes, I'll always take the bullet. They called him Grandpa Miller. He didn't become the head coach of the Rough Riders until I think he was 68, for sure his late 60s. They called him Grandpa Miller, but he was a killer. He was a killer on that football field. And his head coach, Ken Austin, had to dial Kenny back because he was a step on their throat kind of offensive coordinator. He did not ever want to call out the dog. And Ken thought that was funny, but that's Kenny. I could go on for a very long time on stories of Ken Miller, man, because I loved him, and we got along famously. He got me, and I got him. And what's interesting, I guess because it's just me sitting here with you, no moose, then I can tell just a quick story. Okay, well, we can bring him in. But what I've realized here, and I appreciate Janice Owen writing in. She's probably watching in Toronto right now. She's a Rider fan in Toronto for tonight's CFL game. She's like, Rod, you've lost a lot of men close to you here recently, so I hope you're doing okay. And I'm like, hey, it's circle of life. I'm not worried about myself. I'm dealing with the Miller family and his beautiful wife, Maureen. She's really struggling because Kenny, this was a brief battle with cancer. He passed fast. And I'm seeing these tributes, Darren, from the players. Most notably, Darian Durant wrote, I don't know if you saw a monologue on Ken or like a eulogy on Ken on social media. I'm like, oh, yeah, I never thought that you guys would have a special relationship. And, I'm sure he had it with the Ball boys. It's like a parent. When my parents died, I found out they were having these private conversations with my brothers that I never even knew about or even thought about. I'm like, wait a minute, I was just the broadcaster. I'm sure he was way closer to the players, but I felt close to him too. That's what these leaders are. You think you're the only one in their life, and then you realize after they're gone, oh, wait, he meant a lot, or she meant a lot to these other people too. And that's my thoughts on Ken Miller. I know that we are Canada-wide, and it's not as big a deal to fans of other teams, but it is a big deal to us. From the Dolls, Oregon, started coaching at Dickinson State University, spent a lot of time at the University of Redlands in Southern California, and then came to the CFL. It was 62 when he came to the CFL. Had a whole other life beginning at age 62, Darren. If you want to talk about reinventing yourself or how your life can change fast in the second half of life. What are your thoughts on Ken Miller?
Just a tremendous, ray of sunshine as a leader. And typically, we don't feel this way necessarily about head coaches. I'm trying to think of a head coach that has the reputation that Ken Miller has. There's coaches that have great reputations that players would run through walls for, jump in front of bullets for. But Ken, universally, I believe, feels like universally loved, universally respected. And you just, you feel like he's a family member. We nicknamed him Grandpa Ken, and that was an affectionate term because we all loved him, even if we weren't close with him. That's what he did. Every time he spoke, you knew he was serious, and obviously he could lead men, but he spoke with a soft heart and with a kind bit of candor, and just somebody who is going to be infamously forever linked to the Riders and a real treasure for the entire league.
And he's one of those guys that don't mistake his kindness for weakness. Because you weren't with us on earlier when I said this guy was a killer on the football field. He did not want to lay off the gas. WQEE, our radio partner, checking in Rhino Radio, and he says, Atlanta's NHL show. I'll tell you right now, we are, but there won't be a lot of hockey today. I said earlier in the week, the closer we get to the weekend, especially here in the fall, the more football we talk. Carlos in Indianapolis, Indiana writes in, he says, Coach Miller was coaching the Riders around the time I got into CFL ball. So there you go. So condolences to the Miller family. They are taking it hard. But he was a great man. He was 82. I'll tell you this, he left with no regrets. Folks, the RP Show warm-up is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use promo code RP Show for 15% off now. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. Now, moving on to point two. Point two, the Toronto Argonauts and Saskatchewan Roughriders kick off Week 12 of the CFL season when they meet tonight at BMO Field. The Argos will be starting Chad Kelly at quarterback, the CFL's most outstanding player last season. Sat out the first half of the season after being suspended by the league for violating its gender-based violence policy. One more thing on Ken Miller. He won a Grey Cup with the Argos, too. Okay? So he won Grey Cups with Toronto and Saskatchewan. Those two teams meet tonight. If you don't think there's divine timing in all of this, then there's no hope for you. So there'll be some sort of tribute to Kenny tonight at BMO Field. That'll be special. And this game tonight was voted by our viewers as Canada's game of the week yesterday. I have yet to decide where I'm going to watch it. I know wherever I watch it, it's going to be with great friends, and we're going to have big fun. It's going to be a hell of a game. And I guess we're not going to go full on with our picks yet, Darren. But we'll make our picks for this game tonight, okay? I got the Argos, and you've been teasing all week that you got the Riders. But you're a Toronto kid, so are you a turncoat? You're not picking the Argos?
Yeah. Well, I've always liked the Argos, too, and you know that I'm a big fan of the double blue, being a Tennessee Titans fan. And there's a lot of things going the Argos' way. They're coming off the bye week, and Rod, I'm no dummy. I read the game notes now, too. You got me hooked on these game notes. You know, the Argos are 6-0 coming off the bye week. They're 6-0 after bye weeks in their last 6 games. They're coming off the bye. You know, the games in Toronto, trying to put together streaks here. I am looking at this game in the way that I looked at the opposite that we looked at BC last week. All excited about Nathan Rourke, all excited, not really excited isn't the right word, about Chad Kelly, but thinking he's going to be a boost to their team. I am picking the Riders because I think if this game was 2 weeks from now, I'd pick Toronto. But I think Chad Kelly is going to need some time to be Chad Kelly.
How about that?
So give me Saskatchewan to win on the road.
I'm teasing you. Pick whoever you want. We're an inclusive show. But it's not about the damn stats. It's not about the game notes, okay? Here's what I think for the game tonight, which means the most. Chad Kelly's got so much to redeem himself for. Not only his first half suspension, but also his implosion in the East Final last year when his team committed 9 turnovers. They had a record plus last year. Franchise record. The Argos have been around for like 300 years. Last year, they had the best takeaway ratio ever in franchise history and then turned the ball over 9 times in the biggest game of the year. So he's got to atone for that, too. If this guy is loved in his locker room and he has the ability to will himself to a win, and let's not forget it is the most important position in sports, you can't do it alone. But I think everybody's going to want to atone. I don't know if he's liked in that locker room or not, but the videos that I've seen with him dancing with his teammates and stuff at practice yesterday, it's not about coming off a bye. It's not about anything other than the Argos are after redemption tonight. And I feel they're going to get it. Have I got you sold yet or not?
I don't know. Going to be a hell of a game. For those reasons, I think, are great. I thought the same thing, though, about Nathan Rourke last week, coming in, wanting to prove himself, all those things. Maybe not to the degree of losing in a playoff game and having those turnovers. But I just have a feeling it's going to take him a couple of weeks. We'll see what happens tonight.
Motivation is a really big thing. And I've talked to odds makers and the guys that set the point spreads and gals, and the more I learn, they don't go into the stats much at all. It's about what's in here and what's in here. Nathan Rourke was coming off getting his ass kissed for weeks. Why aren't you coming back to the CFL? They've been trouncing Chad Kelly and the Argos. They've been trouncing them, Darren. Big difference. And I think they're going to want to come out here and jam it down everybody's throat. I'm not saying I'm right, but have I sold the game yet, folks? You're going to want to tune in I talked to one of my football guys in Florida. What?
No, I was going to say, I love that we're on different sides of this, too. It's going to make for a great game tonight.
Oh, I thought I'd convinced you. Okay. I talked to one of my football guys in Florida today, and he said Sasks do. You know, they've been in the bottom of the barrel here for a while. They've only won one of their last 6 games. He's picking Sask to win tonight. But I was pulling for Chad Kelly because I like a redemption story, but now I'm not really pulling for Chad Kelly. I was on the radio in London, Ontario yesterday, and they asked me about this and my thoughts. And I just said, I have heard from every side. I've heard pro-Chad Kelly, anti-Chad Kelly, in the middle. I've heard it from everything. And the sucky thing is it's from people I trust in all areas. You know, people defending him, people bashing him, guys I've known for decades. And I'm like, well, I've never even met the guy. So at this point, I don't care. What I know is he's playing tonight. I'm not pulling for a side either way, but I think he will. He's got the ability to jam it down Sask's throat. That's what I think. I'll get to other people's comments and stuff in a moment. CFL fans, join us for the 2nd annual Labor Day Golf Classic at Aspen Links in Regina, hosted by the Rod Pedersen Show. It's your chance to golf with your choice of Rough Riders and Blue Bombers greats. DM us for details. Point 3, NFL rookie Bo Nix was informed Wednesday that he'd won the Denver Broncos starting quarterback job, and that means he'll be the 14th different player to start a quarterback for the Broncos since Peyton Manning retired in 2016. Nix was the 12th player and 6th quarterback selected in the 2024 NFL Draft. He started 61 games at Auburn and Oregon, which is the most by a quarterback in NCAA history. Nix beat out incumbent Jarrett Stidham and trade acquisition Zach Wilson, whom the Broncos acquired from the New York Jets in April. Okay. Are we surprised that Sean Payton, a guy who knows a little bit about quarterbacking, he quarterbacked the Ottawa Rough Riders in the 90s, the Sean Payton, he knows quarterback. And he's gone with this raw rookie out of Oregon. It kind of surprises me a little because Zach Wilson is all that out of BYU. And what was he, number 2 overall from the Jets? This is a reclamation project for him. Bo Nix has done something special, obviously, in Denver, Darren.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on Sean Payton because things haven't really gone that well in Denver yet. And I think there's a lot of pressure on him to come and win football games. And if he thinks Bo Nix out of the gate is the, best way to do that, I don't think there's a lot of confidence in Zach Wilson across the league, period. I think, you hope that he can get back to that potential of a number 2 pick, but it just never happened. And he had his shot with the New York Jets. And Jarrett Stidham's a good, solid quarterback, but not lighting anybody on fire here. I like it. I'm excited to see what Bo Nix is going to do, and he's looked pretty good in the preseason.
We'll take a pause for the cause. Smoke him if you got him. Breaking news. Thank you, Clark, for posting this in the YouTube chat. The Winnipeg Jets have traded top prospect Rutger McGroarty to the Pittsburgh Penguins as per Elliot Friedman. I think we all know enough about the story that he didn't want to report to the Winnipeg Jets. And the comments coming in from the Winnipeg fans are predictable. Like John Ohm. Bye, Rutger. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. From Charlie. What did the Jets get in return? We don't know just yet, but we will. Patrolman Peter Winnipeg says, good riddance, Rutger. Maybe Chevy will learn a lesson and start drafting more good Canadian boys. That's the thing I don't understand. I've been saying that for a long time, and Chevy is a good Canadian boy from Blaine Lake, Sask. Glad you asked.
Yep.
I don't understand why they don't have more Canadians on that team, but said my piece, not going to belabor it. We'll be right back. We are halfway through the Quick Six. On the way, AJ Jakovic and Mike Abou-Meshwick. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, our radio partner, streaming live on YouTube, and, of course, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sastix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hockey players, are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. With state-of-the-art shooting lanes and top-notch equipment, it's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels. Whether you're prepping for the big game or just want to have some fun, Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. I literally had to drag Serena out of there last week. She did not want to leave. I would not lie to you. It is that much fun. Let's bring in the Moose. I'm going to throw in a baseball stat. You are now my baseball guy, Darren.
All right.
Point 4 in the quick six. One of the biggest Canadian stars in Major League Baseball history called it a career last night. Former NL MVP and six-time All-Star Joey Votto announced his retirement from baseball in a short video posted to social media. The 40-year-old spent 17 seasons with the Reds before signing a minor league contract with his hometown Blue Jays this year. He had been playing in AAA Buffalo after returning from an ankle injury sustained in spring training. Let's hear from the Jays fans out there. And Clark, you can put it in the YouTube chat if you want, or tell me in my ear how we feel about the fact he had to retire without ever playing a game in a Blue Jays uniform, not in the big. Because not only that, Cincinnati was just in town. Arash took to Twitter and said, why wouldn't you? It would have been a class move, if I can paraphrase, for the Jays to bring him up for one game to play in his hometown against his former team. But, ... Did you see Arash's tweet? Sometimes it's very hard to bite our lip. Sometimes it's very hard to bite our lip. What do you think about that? Is there a buzz in your circles about the fact that Joey Votto retired without ever playing a game for the Blue Jays, even though he could have?
Yeah, we were waiting all year for him to get the call, and we really thought the Jays would be better and, contenders, and then he would be on the bench and be able to come in and help from the bench a little bit, but he's been dealing with the injury. He's been playing in AAA. And the fact is, he just has not been very good, unfortunately, and he admitted that. He's like, I'm just not very good anymore. Just one home run. He's batting something like 148 down there. He just has not been able to play at a level that warrants being called up to the majors. But as Arash said, that was my first reaction too. And a lot of Jays fans, come on, one game. I know you got a lot of young players you're trying to get in, and you don't want to waste at bats, on Joey Votto. But one game would have been very ceremonial. Play the Reds in Toronto. The crowd would have went nuts, would have been a great moment, even if he struck out. And then that's it. But at the end of the day, didn't seem like the Jays were interested, and he really wasn't playing that good.
So there. From the 902 text line, 902-518-3033, Dan McCabe writes in from the Queen City. And by the way, did you know there are multiple Queen cities? Charlotte, North Carolina,
I assume there's one in like Australia.
Well, Charlotte for sure. You were there with me. Cincinnati, I think, is the Queen City. And also Regina, Saskatchewan. So you can guess where he's from. He says, morning RP show. Just wanted to give my condolences to the Ken Miller family and give a shout out to Joey Votto. Heck of a career. Looking forward to tonight's football game. Producer Clark has answered the bell regarding Joey Votto and says, this is from Producer Clark. He is the resident Jays guy. He says, yeah, it's too bad that he didn't get his moment, but the Jays have a lot of young guys they need to give time to, and Votto is hitting 140 in AAA. The vanity move just wasn't a good idea. Says Clark. The thing is, the Jays aren't going anywhere. I don't know enough about baseball culture to know that. It's 162 games. You suck. Throw them in. That's what I'm saying.
Chance.
I know you want to play the kids, but come on. It's one game.
Yeah. You had a great chance. The front office, Shapiro, Atkins, and even John Schneider have been crapped on all year. You have a chance to create a ton of goodwill and kind of do the right thing. I think you missed an opportunity.
Yeah, so they made their decision. There's more. Shoot, we could sit here. We are Canada's daytime sports talk show, and it is Canada's baseball team. John Ohm in Winnipeg says a vanity move would have been a PR disaster. Says who? Depending on how you spin it, maybe they could have used the good pub. I think it'd be pretty cool at the bottom of Joey Votto's stat line that it says Toronto at the end, and it won't. In terms of MLB appearances, I think that would have been cool. For a team that could use good PR, I think if they'd spun it properly. But the other thing is, there's a really big deal about these guys being Americans, Mark Shapiro, Ross Atkins, not from there. And it obviously doesn't mean anything to them to have the Toronto guy in the lineup for the last game of his MLB. They just don't care. And which, by the way, if you take a look around pro sports these days, there's a lot of teams that just don't care. And I'll just stop. But it is their choice. It is their team. So I'm certainly ready to move on. Other than Robin up in the Gateway to the North writes in, and he says, I think Joey Votto has more value now as a leader in the clubhouse than on the field. Bring him in as a coach on the Jays bench and have that proven leadership with a young team. Yeah, well, that's a topic for down the line. I wanted to get to the NFL here before we circle back because it is a big game day. If you're just tuning in, we covered Argos and Riders for pretty much the entire first segment, okay? There are other things like NFL tonight, a pair of games, Colts at Bengals, Bears at Chiefs. And this I snatched from the Associated Press Sports Wire. Let me tell me what you think, and the viewers too. The final preseason NFL game is an opportunity for players on the bubble to impress coaches and earn a roster spot before Tuesday's deadline for cuts. Late-round draft picks and undrafted rookies benefit most from the playing time. While young players battle for roster spots this weekend, several veteran players are on edge because they could be on the way out. Chiefs wide receiver Kadarius Toney, Eagles safety James Bradbury, Patriots quarterback Bailey Zappi, Bills offensive lineman Lael Collins and safety Mike Edwards are among the established players who could be looking for a new team soon. I'll be honest, full disclosure, I'm going to be watching CFL tonight, not paying a lot of attention to these NFL preseason games. But I know if your team was playing in the NFL, you'd be paying attention to it. What's your interest level for the final weekend of the NFL preseason?
Yeah, I'm highly interested, but I am, I'll watch when I can. I'm going to watch the Argos and Riders going to the game. So obviously not going to sit home and watch NFL. I'll come home, though, and scour the box scores and look at the highlights and, read the columns because I am interested on some of those position battles. I'm kind of a nerd in that sense, but not enough to sit there and cancel things and to watch the games. Not quite there yet.
Darcy in Grand Prairie writes in, and he says, Votto was clear that he wanted to be called up because he earned it. He did not want to take a spot from a young player that earned it. Trevor in Red Deer, Alberta writes in, watching on television. He says, a rant to Game Plus TV for showing pickleball all week instead of both halves of the RP show.
How about that?
Don't shoot the messenger, Game Plus. Everybody wants to shoot I'm just passing along what the dude said. Robert in Vegas writes in. He says, Joey Votto's interview with Mad Dog Russo. Greatest interview ever. Hilarious. Votto will have a career in media if he wants one. Oh, I think he's going to be just fine. He'll be fine, Joey Votto. Don't cry for Joey Votto. Do you think God created us all equal? Look at Joey Votto and then think again. Troy in Toronto. He says, I think it was an opportunity missed by the Blue Jays. Joey Votto deserved a chance to go out with dignity. They could have capitalized on a feel-good moment. See, that's what I think, Troy. You, me, same page. He also says, Darren, Troy in Toronto, hang with me. Here it is. At least now the Argonauts have a quarterback that can do more than short dump passes. Like or hate Kelly, he's better than what we have now. The D is great, so some more offensive power will help Toronto. This is a societal experiment. Because as I said on the radio in London yesterday, let's not discount the fact Chad Kelly is the league MVP. As others have said, if he wasn't playing for the Argos and if he wasn't such a great player, he'd be gone. But talented people, and for whatever reason, do get more chances than those not as talented. That's just the way that it is. But have we talked about that, Darren? Like, he's a hell of a player. Let's not think that does not factor into it. They're weighing that versus the nightmare of the PR. What a flippin' fiasco. Oh, yeah. Keep saying I'm sick and tired of talking about it. Keeps coming up. Go ahead. Sorry.
I know. And if this was an issue, of straight just PR, they may have just cut him before this whole fiasco got to suspension and all the rest. But the fact that you're going to keep him as part of the team tells me, he's a valuable member of the organization in terms of what he brings to this team and this offense. And like the Argos team as a whole, changed with Ryan Dinwiddie becoming the head coach, but it changed with Chad Kelly becoming the quarterback. Like they were established as the best team in the Canadian Football League last year. They had kind of overtaken Winnipeg and become the best team in the league. Forget about what happened at the Grey Cup and in the playoffs. I think with Chad Kelly coming back, there's a lot of optimism around the football team that they can get the offense going and challenge Montreal for first in the East. We're going to learn a lot to see what kind of shape Chad Kelly's in. But it's only going to get better, their offense, assuming he's still ready to go.
If it's possible, and I'm not sure that it is it possible to not talk about off-field issues and just talk about the games? Because that's really what I want. And if that's what we're going to do, then the Argos should win this thing running away. Let's not forget, they clinched earlier than any team ever has in the history of the CFL last year in mid-September, as you just talked about. They did historic things with this guy at the quarterback position. He's that good. He's never lost to Saskatchewan, ever. Darren, I'm telling you, I don't think tonight it's going to be close. Hell of a Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, God, I dislike this current Jays management team. I don't really care for him either. And I'll be honest, they watched this show because, remember, who was it that they got a message to? Because I was saying Alex Manoah, and the Jays got can you tell that guy it's Alec Manoah? Oh. So they're watching. So I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but they've fired enough of my friends, and believe me, they have. They all told me what they're like, but I've been fired too. I told people about the people who fired me. People didn't care. So they haven't done anything to me. I'm just looking at what's going on the field, and they haven't won jack squat. So I'm really starting to not care for this Blue Jays regime, because that's really all it comes down to is winning and losing. By the way, Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in, when I said the teams don't care about certain things and the fans' feelings on anything, Jeff says they don't care, but we keep buying the tickets regardless. And therein is the rub. Tony and Cochrane, as he calls it, George Fox Country. Tony and George Fox Country writes in, and he says, the Riders lose by 4 field goals. Oh, my God. Whoa, 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 whoa. Forget about all that. The Pittsburgh Penguins sending Braden Yager back to the Jets in the McGroarty trade.
Boom.
We were just, whoa, 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 whoa.
What's that?
We were just talking about him last night at Deja Vu Wings. It was the 5th time I've been there. And how the Braden Yager was number 2 in the Bantam pick to Connor Bedard. The scouts were calling him the Nathan McKinnon 2.0. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, Winnipeg, you won this trade going away. You got Nathan McKinnon 2.0. I'm not joking. Darren, we'll talk about this more in hour 2. AJ's coming in next. Thanks.
Whoa, you bet.
Yeah. It's the RP show on Game Plus Television. We will be right back with AJ from Ottawa on Game Plus, WQEE Radio. We're also streaming on YouTube Live, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
Now the race is on and here comes pride in the backstretch.
Celebrate 40 years of Sawyer Brown.
Some girls don't like boys like me.
With Shenandoah.
You got to get me to the church on the Cumberland Road.
Plus special guest George Fox. Saturday, October 26th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I'll take the dirt road.
Tickets are on sale now at the Moose Jaw Event Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
6 days on the road and I'm
Sawyer Brown and Shenandoah live.
The WCBL continued to grow this summer. 12 teams, 2 provinces, pacing towards 400,000 fans, an all-time high in 2024. The WCBL had a record number of players drafted in this summer's Major League Baseball draft. 2024 playoffs start August 7th.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
We interrupt Football Thursday for a hockey note. Again, this is massive news. The Pittsburgh Penguins sending Braden Yager to the Winnipeg Jets in exchange for Rutger McGroarty. The disgruntled player who didn't want to report to the Winnipeg Jets. Landon, a Penguins fan, writes in, he goes, another boneheaded decision by Dubas. I was hyped as a Penguins fan to have the star of the Warriors. Now we get a guy with ego issues in return. Don't take my word for it. It's the scouts that told me he's Nathan McKinnon 2.0. I've watched him. He's a stud. Jets fans, you won this deal. Big day for you. All right, let's go to Ottawa now. Big day in the CFL. Chad Kelly and the Argos host the Riders. And then Saturday, it's Ottawa home to BC. AJ, obviously at TD Place. I saw your tweet yesterday that Drew Brown was taking first-team reps, and I was stunned. So what's going on?
Well, Drew Brown's the number one quarterback here. He was brought in to be the number one quarterback, and when you look at how he's been, if he's finished a game, he's been 5-1 as a starter, and his last 3 starts prior to getting hurt in the Saskatchewan game threw for an average of 365 yards in those games and all wins. So you don't move away from your number one guy. It's the best quarterback situation we've seen here since Ottawa won the Grey Cup in 2016 when they had Henry Burris and Trevor Harris. They've got 2 guys that can play. I mean, what Jeremiah Masoli did last week was phenomenal. He looked better than he did last year, when he came in against Hamilton, and unfortunately blew out his Achilles in that game. So Ottawa's got a great 1-2 punch at quarterback, just like BCU is coming in this week, just like Montreal with Fajardo and Davis Alexander, heck, even Edmonton with McLeod Bethel Thompson and Trey Ford. It's the league's in a good place again when it comes to quarterbacks. We weren't saying that a couple of years ago, and Ottawa certainly is right near the top when it comes to the best 1-2 punch in the league.
We finally have the matchups we were salivating for all season, like Chad Kelly, Trevor Harris tonight. As you said, Drew Brown, Nathan Rourke. And to be, okay, well, AJ, just stop. I was in Calgary last week. They're talking about this Jeremiah Masoli thing as a Disney movie, that he would come back and lead you guys to a win, and then he's sitting. I guess that's the way it goes in pro football, right?
Yeah, and I think, everyone's competitive, but I think he knew coming in this year at a reduced rate that he was going to be the backup. And look, Drew Brown has done everything asked of him and getting better each and every week. And so you'd love to be able to see Jeremiah Masoli continue this storybook situation. But, it's the CFL. He's probably going to be called upon at some point between now and the end of the season. And I just think Ottawa's in a real good spot. I mean, like for a lot of years, they haven't had any quarterbacks that they could say was a true number one. And now all of a sudden, it really looks like they've got 2 guys that can win them games. And you've got 2 other guys here in Tyree Adams and Dustin Crum who have won games and started in this league as well. So certainly Ottawa's dealing with a point of strength here right now after, for the last few years being on the other end of it.
BC at covers.com is favored by a point going into Ottawa. And I just don't think I can take the bet. I got to think that joint's going to be sold out Saturday night. Like, why is it the Rourke factor? How would BC be favored in Ottawa Saturday by anybody?
That's a great question. I've seen Ottawa favored by a point. I've seen BC favored by a point, and usually teams that play at home get a 3-point advantage right out of the gate. So maybe it's the Nathan O'Rourke factor. I mean, they have been struggling. I'm expecting a lot better from BC this week, and certainly from Nathan O'Rourke. And you can only imagine how his head's been the last few weeks, going from the Patriots to the Giants to the Falcons and now signing in the CFL. I'm led to believe there's other interest in him in the National Football League, but I think a good move for him to come back, and he's going to get an opportunity to play. And look, if he doesn't get better, and I expect he does, they got Vernon Adams Jr., who's not too far from being back as well. So they could have a real scary 1-2 punch there as well. But I'm excited to see Rourke. I'm hoping for a better crowd. It's been a little bit slow. It's kind of like turning around a ship. This team won 14 games in 4 years, and a lot of people still aren't buying in. I know the September games are selling well, but it got the all-decade team coming in this week. There's a lot going on, and this team hasn't lost a game at home. So I'd love to see a big crowd, and weather's supposed to be good Saturday as well.
So are you telling me that they haven't, just so they're not totally bought in yet? What's it going to take to fill that joint?
Yeah, I don't know if people are just in cottage mode. By the way, I don't get cottage mode. To me, I'm a city guy. I grew up in the prairies, but I'm a city guy. I don't know, it's August. Come and watch football. You're going to sit and stare at the lake for 5 hours? I don't understand that, but that's what people tell me. People love going to their cottages, and maybe they can't go now for a few weeks or months. Well, too bad. You're not going to be bored stiff for a few months either.
Okay. We got our hockey fans checking in, a lot of them today. I got to ask you, do the Ottawa Senators make the playoffs in year one under Travis Green?
Say yes, 55-45 yes. I don't think the middle of the East is very strong. We saw it last year. Philly pushed for a playoff spot. Washington made the playoffs. I think Ottawa at their best, they're better than those teams. They've got to come out of the gate with some consistency, and they've been terrible out of the gate essentially every year under DJ Smith, and they're basically clawing back from a deficit by the time you get to November. So I think with Travis Green, that this team's going to be ready to go from the start of the year. There are holes in this roster for sure, but they filled the biggest one in goal with Linus Ullmark, and I think they've got a decent backup in Anton Forsberg. I like their forward group. They're a little thin on the blue line after their top four, but there's other teams. Look at Edmonton. The Oilers are still my Stanley Cup favorite, and that's a thin blue line after losing Philip Broberg and Cody Ceci on the weekend. So I think they'll be able to sneak into one of those last two playoff spots. I don't like them finishing top three in the division when you've got Boston, Toronto, and Florida. But right now I would say probably Tampa Bay, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo all have a decent chance to make it out of this division as a wild card, and I'll take the Ottawa Senators to break the 7-year drought.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Keep it up, my man. Rich in Edmonton writes in. He says, one thing I know about AJ, there's no bigger supporter of the CFL in the capital. Keep bringing it, man. I'm listening all the time. Thanks for the time today, AJ.
Anytime, Roddy. Take care.
Thanks, pal. He's one of the good one. AJ Jakubik, the voice of the Red Blacks on TSN 1200. Jeremy in Winnipeg writes in. He says, sleeping on the Red Wings, eh? Listen, one of these years, they're going to get it together. One of them. But until they do, I think we'll all sleep on the Red Wings. I had them picked to make the playoffs last year, and they crapped the bed. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I agree, cottages are boring. Funny you should do that. We did a meditation yesterday about city energy. City energy. And getting rid of the city energy. Just chill. Chill your energy. So there is city energy and there's lake energy. I like them both. You can't have them at the same time. We will be right back. We'll examine this Jets trade. Braden Yager is a Winnipeg Jet. I'm still getting my mind around it. We'll be right back here on Game Plus TV. You know, Winnipeg's number 2 for viewership of the RP show. They want to know about this guy. I'll tell you when we come back on Game Plus TV, Key Radio, also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, here we go. Here's the news. The Winnipeg Jets and Pittsburgh Penguins are swapping top prospects in a blockbuster trade. Say it again with me. This is why we love live daytime television. Stories like this. Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman reports the Jets are trading Rutger McGroarty to the Penguins for fellow forward Braden Yager. The 20-year-old McGroarty was the 14th overall pick in the 2022 NHL draft. Yager was taken 14th overall in 2023. McGroarty had expressed reservations about his future with Winnipeg earlier this offseason, leading general manager Kevin Cheveldayoff to explore trade options for the player. Jagr is coming off a season in which he had 35 goals and 60 assists in 57 WHL games for the Moose Jaw Warriors. The Saskatoon product helped the Warriors win the WHL championship last season with 27 points in 20 playoff games and added 6 more points in 4 games in the Memmer. He also had 5 points in 5 games for Canada at the 2024 World Jays. I'm telling you, Brayden Jagr is all that. And just so you know, this is why I haven't totally jumped across the border and just set up shop in Florida and stayed there, because I got so much history in Canada, and it's great history. And I remember when Brayden Jagr came into the Dub at the age of 15, along with Bedard and all those guys, Zach Benson with the Winnipeg Ice, all that 15-year-old group. And I remember standing in the media room beside an NHL scout, and he said, he's Nathan McKinnon 2.0, Brayden Jagr. And he's done nothing. Listen, the junior numbers are the same, if not better. And I watched Nathan McKinnon with the Halifax Mooseheads at the Memorial Cup in Saskatoon in 2013. So don't tell me that it's wrong. That's the NHL scouting report. Plus, I've seen it with my own eyes. Winnipeg, whoa, Chevy. Now, we did say that Brad Treliving with the Flames fleeced the Panthers when he got Jonathan Huberdeau for Matthew Tkachuk and Uyghur and Schwint. But you know what It's a little early to anoint Brayden Jagr for the Hockey Hall of Fame. But let's just say, for a player that didn't want to be there to get this, the Jets are winning this one going away. That is my take on the trade. Amazing. Now, the Toronto Blue Jays are back in action tonight as they kick off a 4-game series with the visiting LA Lakers. Toronto opened their 7-game homestand by dropping 2 of 3 games to Cincinnati. But the Jays did post a 3-game sweep of the Angels when the teams met last week in Anaheim. Meanwhile, the battle for top spot in the American League East continues today with the New York Yankees and Baltimore Orioles both in action. The Yankees enter an afternoon game against the visiting Cleveland Guardians with a half-game lead over the Orioles. Baltimore hosts the Houston Astros later today. Ladies and gentlemen, defeat boring Sundays. Every Sunday, kids can get out of the house and score a movie ticket and snack pack for one great low price. Every movie, every Sunday. Landmark Cinema's Kids Day. Turn the average Sunday into a movie-filled fun day. Check your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes. Some terms and conditions apply. Children must be 13 and under and provide valid ID. Valid for new movie releases only. And we're also brought to you by the Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw, your hub for sports, fitness, and community fun. Check them out at goldenticketsportscenter.com. Boy, is there a lot going on. And by the way, we're going to have to bid adieu to you because Game Plus is going to PPL Live, Pro Paddle League Live. But we'll be coming back on YouTube, so we'll be examining more of this NHL trade between the Penguins and the Winnipeg Jets. We'll also be joined by Mike Abu-Meshrik as we preview tonight's game of the week in the Canadian Football League, the Argonauts and the Rough Riders, and, of course, talk about the life of the great Ken Miller, Rough Riders Hall of Famer, passing away at age 82 after a brief battle with cancer. We'll talk about the NFL things. There are 2 games tonight, and we still got our Week 12 CFL picks coming up with the Moose, all after this brief timeout.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's like Ravine, the famed illusionist. He would hypnotize the whole crowd. My dad always told this joke. He goes, oh, yeah, Ravine was performing at the Center of the Arts. He had the whole room hypnotized. And he said, the next thing I say, you will all do. And he got tripped up, tangled in his mic cord and tripped and went, crap. Took him 2 weeks to get the smell out.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Well, here we go, everybody. Welcome into Hour 2 of the RP Show. We are live on Game... No, we're not live on Game Plus Television. They have switched to PPL Live. But if you are joining us from watching Hour 1 on Game Plus, we are streaming on YouTube and, of course, on the radio WQEE. For a second straight day, I don't know if I have Darren or not for Hour 2 to start, so that's fun. That's always fun. We've got breaking news. We've got... Well, he can wait now, because I've got to switch gears. The Winnipeg Jets and Pittsburgh Penguins are swapping top prospects in a blockbuster trade. Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman reports that the Jets are trading Rutger McGroarty to the Penguins for fellow forward Braden Yager. I did, just at the end of Hour 1, give a little bit of a monologue on my thoughts on Braden Yager in this trade. I just saw the tweet from Andrew Hustler Patterson at the top of the hour saying, we're going to be all over this on Winnipeg Sports Talk. But I'll say this, see you, bud. A lot of these guys don't follow junior. I saw this in Florida. A lot of guys that are on the NFL beat don't follow college football. It's very hard to believe, but it's true. And I'd say most guys that are on the NHL beat don't follow junior hockey. So a lot of these, see you guys, have a good day. It's the hockey camp that's letting out for the morning. They don't follow junior, but we do. And we can bring Darren in here because it was just before he skedaddled in Hour 1 that the news broke of Rutger McGroarty, the Nebraska product, who, as the Canadian press story said expressed reservations about going to Winnipeg has been dealt to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Braden Yager. This is what's blown the lid off everything. So we'll get to tonight's CFL game. We'll get to the Week 12 picks. We'll get to Mike Abumetric later on to talk about the game and the life of Ken Miller. But this is a news event, Darren, that affects a lot of people. And you were right there beside me broadcasting those games in the bubble, in the dub in 2020, seeing this kid. You might have been standing there when that NHL scout said he was Nathan McKinnon 2.0. That is not an exaggeration. Wasn't then, and I don't think it is now. Do you?
No, it's not. I mean, coming off, a 35-goal campaign in Moose Jaw, Braden Yager, he can shoot the puck really well. He's grown into a leadership role. But Rutger McGroarty, too, has a ton of upside. I think he's supposed to go back to the University of Michigan this year and play again. Led USA to a gold medal. I mean, the Jets were pretty high on McGroarty, and I think the NHL world is too, but really high on Braden Yager. So two kids with a ton of upside. I think the Jets, while they should be disappointed, and I get that for the fans, that a player you picked and were pretty excited about didn't want to come there, to be able to unload him and bring in somebody with the upside that Braden Yager has and the talent that he has, I think this is a big win for Winnipeg. I really do.
Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in, and he's dropped his $2 to get his comment read. He says, Chevy almost always comes out ahead in these deals. And he does. You want to go back to the PLD trade. That's the most recent one that I can think of, that nobody's even saying he got fleeced in that. You got rid of a player that didn't want to be in Winnipeg for a potential NHL superstar. We've been on this trail of Braden Yager since he was 15 because there was talk that he might be an exceptional player status along with Connor Bedard. In the end, it didn't matter because they were allowed to play in the bubble at the age of 15. But he's probably sick of being compared to Connor Bedard too. But you know what? He is at that level. A number 2 overall Bantam pick, a first-round NHL pick. It's a huge win. Now, back to having a little fun here. While Rich in Edmonton says, love the Yager trade for the Jets, doesn't make them a contender for this upcoming season. Well, they were a playoff team. I think we all have them picked to be a playoff team. And Rich says, by the way, that's a real tough division. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg says, Yager won't play for the Jets this season, but neither would have Rutger. This is about the future. He might play for the Jets this season. I go back to this. Were you at the Memorial Cup in 2013, Darren? You and I didn't even know each other then, but Nathan McKinnon was there with the Halifax Mooseheads, starring there. They won the whole damn thing. Yager took the Warriors to the Memorial Cup this year. Their careers are eerily similar. I could see him playing at 19 in the NHL. I could. You?
Yeah, I could too. I mean, he was in, Penguins camp last year and got returned back to Moose Jaw, and that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, I absolutely could see him cracking the Jets lineup. It's going to be tough. And whether he goes back to, and doesn't play and gets sent down, or he stays with the Jets, still a good move. And he's going to be ready sooner than later.
Jets won this one. That's where it is today. That's the bottom line. Just not really putting a bow on things, but just carryovers. How about that? From hour 1 to hour 2. There are 2 NFL preseason games tonight, the Colts at the Bengals, the Bears at the Chiefs. I don't care about any of those teams, so I'm not going to really be following. I'll be following the CFL. And I asked Darren and the viewers in the audience, because we are on the radio live in Atlanta right now, how much are you following the NFL preseason games here on the final weekend? Tony in Cochrane, Alberta writes it. He says, as big of an NFL fan as I am, preseason games are not worth my time. He says, I'm waiting for week 1 and the Cowboys at the Browns. Who you got, Rod? Go Browns. The Browns put fun in dysfunctional. Unfortunately, Dallas puts the D in dysfunctional. But I think the Browns are more dysfunctional, and the Cowboys can beat them with CeeDee Lamb or not. And it doesn't look like they're going to have him, so I got the Cowboys to win in week 1. But Darren and I both realized, don't bet on your teams. Don't bet on your teams. Say it with me.
Stay with us
now. Don't bet on your team. Huh?
Yeah, say it with us now.
Exactly.
Like it's you don't bet on your teams, and that's it's funny. They need something else about the Cowboys on these networks, and I was watching this morning, and the question they're asking today, and it was a carryover from yesterday, is: are the Cowboys closer to winning a Super Bowl or missing the playoffs completely? And that's kind of where they're in. They get CD in, and this offense rolls. I mean, they're going to be really dynamic offensively, but dysfunctional, yeah, for sure.
Colin in Ottawa writes in and says, you don't care about the Chiefs and their quest for a three-peat, Roddy? I do, but I don't think they're going to win a third straight Super Bowl tonight. Nice try, Colin in Ottawa. I said I don't care about this game. Or at least, maybe I didn't say that, but that's what I meant. Now you know the rest of the story. We got a lot of people tuned in that want to talk about, obviously, the Argonauts and the Rough Riders tonight. I will tell you that we spent all of the opening segment talking about this game tonight, Chad Kelly versus Trevor Harris. It's everything that you want. The interview with A.J. Jakubik last hour was fantastic as well, where, we put our heads together. A.J. and I got to know each other when I was the voice of the Pats and he was the voice of the Edmonton Oil Kings. We go back a long ways. And he talked, Darren, about these quarterback matchups now that we finally have. It took a half a damn season to get here. Trevor Harris versus Chad Kelly tonight. Nathan Rourke versus Drew Brown on Saturday. Zach Caleros versus whoever Hamilton wants to trot out there on Friday because they're going to get spanked. But we finally have these quarterback matches. We have some scintillating games because we've been watching all year long. But now I guess the rest of the country is going to perk up and pay attention. But I just want to say this, because AJ goes, he doesn't understand lake people, Darren. I don't know if you saw the interview with AJ, but he's like, people say they want to go to the lake. Why would you what are you going to do, stare at the lake for 5 hours? Well, believe it or not, it ruffled some feathers. And can I read you some comments from people?
Yes.
I want you. Yes, this is good. Reading angry tweets. Twisted Mike writes in, and he says, a lot of people pay a lot for the cottages. Summer's only so short. Lots of time for football. People like to get out of the city because it's peaceful. Like me, there's more to life than football, you city guy. Brian in Hudson's Bay writes in and says, AJ, what are you going to do? Stare at the lake for 5 hours? That's what AJ said. He goes, obviously knows nothing about the cottage and the lake. Maybe he should extend his horizons rather than call people down who enjoy more things than one thing in life. Whoa. Whoa. Woo-sa.
Spicy. Hot damn.
AJ is a guy who has dedicated his life to this perilous craft of broadcasting, okay? And he is in the tunnel. What did I say? The man's been single primarily his entire adult life because all he's doing is working. And I don't need to sit here and sing AJ's story. He's a mature enough man that he can. But the voice of the Red Blacks, the voice of the 67s, the voice of the Ottawa Fury, and the voice of the Ottawa Blackjacks, and host pre- and post-game shows for Ottawa. Let's just say a lot of women in AJ's life weren't down with that. He's probably never even been to the damn lake. He's too busy working. He's like all sports people that have dedicated their life to something. So, rude thing to say. And then on the flip side, I've decided after 36 years in this shitty business that I don't want to do that. And I can tell you that Saturday night, I don't even know where I'm going to be, but I know I'm going to be kicking it up with friends. Actually, I do know this. I'll be with Peanut Butter Pete and Jeff watching that game because I do know there is more to life than that. But that's both sides of the story, and I just can't believe lake people would get upset. I'm also not surprised AJ would have no clue that people would want to go to the lake. Do you have any thoughts on that before we get to our CFL pick?
I'm very big.
It's 11:11 Eastern, by the way. 11:11 Mountain, 1:11 Eastern continues.
But on that note, everybody does things the way they want to do it. And he just wants people to watch the game. What are you going to do, right? What do you mean go to the lake? You got to watch football. I mean, now you watch the game at the lake, and that's just the thing. When I was growing up, that was always like, ooh, you got a satellite dish at Fishing Lake? We can watch the football game here? This is the best. Be at the lake and watch the games. So, I don't know. Everybody's going to get riled up. Just chill.
That's the main thing. Howbeit you do you, we'll do us. You have to. I'll be something. I'll tell you. It was years ago in Calgary. We went through, and I can't remember if I was with the hockey team or the football team. It doesn't matter. But I was looking at Boomer Molberg doing the mornings on Fan 960 Calgary going, Boomer's got to figure it out. He works Monday to Friday. He's done by, let's say, noon at the latest every day and has weekends off. I like that. And here's this show here now, 10 a.m. to noon, evenings and weekends off. I've been formulating this for a long time, just so everybody knows. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes in, and he says, the best friend to have is one with a cottage at the lake, not a minivan in Regina, LOL. Or one with a boat, Brent. But I still like you anyway. But he's our boat guy, Darren, just so you know.
Good.
Oh, my God. Jay in Winnipeg writes in, and he says, Rutger for a Jaeger. Seems like Chevy could have got more. Dude! What is wrong with you? We told you won the trade. Be satisfied with that. Didn't get enough. You're the guy that was bitching about Rick Bowness and said the Jets would be better off without him. My God, Jay, go for a damn walk. Go to the lake, Jay.
Sit in the Adirondack chair and watch the water.
Kim and I can't with these people. They already won the trade, and you're bitching they didn't get more. Oh my God! It's fans like that the teams can't listen to. They can't listen to them. Kim in Calgary says we all miss Boomer here in Calgary. Vince writes in and he says, without even researching Jagger, my guess is the Jets win based on Rutger's high-maintenance attitude issues. Is he another PLD? Probably. Listen, we already said it. If you don't want to be there, which it would have been nice if they told him before they drafted him, because, by the way, that does happen. Jordan Eberle is so freaking smart. Everybody couldn't figure out why Ebbs went in the 7th round of the Bantam draft. I'll tell you why. He said, I'll only play for 2 teams. That's what he told all the WHL teams. I'll only play for the Pats and I'll only play for the Hitmen. One of those 2. That's why he ended up sliding to the 7th round. At least he told them up front. You know what I mean? This would have helped a lot if Rutger McGroarty told the Winnipeg Jets, don't draft me because I don't want to come to Winnipeg. Which here's another win with Braden Jagger. Not only is he Nathan McKinnon 2.0, but he's from Saskatoon, which is just a smaller Winnipeg in a lot of ways. He'll be very happy to be there. Listen, I've never met Braden Jagger, but I've been watching the kid since he was 15, and I know this. His dad played in the Dub. I believe he comes from a hockey family. He's not privileged. He's everything you would want in a hockey player. And you got him for a kid that didn't even want to be there. So, Jay in Winnipeg, that's why the Jets won the trade. And if it's not enough for you, you're the kind of guy that's never going to be happy. I don't even think I want to know you. Bomber Boy writes in and says, move on. I don't even know what quoting Rod Pedersen. I don't even know what he's referring to, but he's right. Move on. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in and she says, I absolutely love the lake. As soon as you get there, the stress melts away. Mentally and physically relaxing. See, what was I saying before the end of hour 1? We did a meditation yesterday. There's city energy and there's lake energy. And you can't have the 2 at the same time. You can't have lake energy in the city, and you shouldn't have city energy at the lake. And AJ don't know. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what the other life is like. I do. I'm lucky. We will be back with our picks and talk about CFL games of the night and the week. And Mike Abomeshwer coming up a little later on, too. Talk about the life of Ken Miller. We are live on YouTube. No Game Plus. Blame them, not me. Key Radio, streaming on YouTube, as I said, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The 80s Club, live in Moose Jaw. Honeymoon Suite, along with a flock of seagulls. Men without hats. And spoons. All together for one night at Moose Jaw Event Center, Saturday, November 16th. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, the joys of live broadcasting. We're supposed to have Mike Abelmetrick in this segment, but we don't have him. I guess we'll be notified when we do. Moose has been kind enough to join us back on, and as I said, congrats, Winnipeg. You have just landed Nathan MacKinnon 2.0. We've talked about that. We've talked about it all. What we have not talked about, Darren, is our picks for Week 12 in the Canadian Football League. So just hang on, everybody. I'm going to get to your comments. Everybody's revved up today, and not everybody's in a good mood. I told you earlier today, I got a lot of haters coming out of the woodwork, which is actually a sure sign that I must be having a lot of success, because the haters have ramped right up. I don't know why that is, but that's the good sign. When you got haters, it means you're doing something right. That's a fact. So, spoiler alert or recap alert, Darren picked the Rough Riders to win tonight. I didn't convince you otherwise, obviously. Huh?
Not enough. I got to stick with my gut on this one.
Okay, that's cool. Are you keeping track of the picks? Because when I took my week off, I kind of completely lost track of where we're at.
Yeah, I don't have the graphic up, but I believe we were both 2-2 last week. We both picked the last two games correctly, like together, and we both lost on the BC game. But you are up by 4 games. You have a 4-game lead.
Okay, everybody lost on the BC game. That's why they call it gambling, everybody.
Yes.
What I did see in the game notes is that all 4 road teams won last week. So that reversed the trend. Say it with me. Do we not understand at the halfway turn, the whole CFL just got flipped on its head? The whole CFL got flipped on its head at the halfway turn. The home teams won the most games in the history of the league. In 100 years of CFL football, this was the year where the home teams were winning the most, and now all the road teams win, because, of course, they did. So Darren picked the Riders to win tonight. I picked the Argos to win tonight, and I really believe it because of the motivation of Chad Kelly. Oh, man, we had a hell of an analysis last hour about all this as to why. I don't feel like I want to repeat it. Although, as you and I know, Colin Cowherd says the same thing 3-4 times a show. He repeats the same thing all the time. So maybe I should just say. Darren said there might be a bit of Nathan Rourke-itis here. So much hype on Chad Kelly coming back that he might crap the bed. And I've said total different situation. Nathan Rourke spent weeks, months having his butt kissed by fans. It was a major letdown. In the case of Chad Kelly, he's been dumped on every day since last November. And I think he's going to want to come out and jam it down everybody's throat. And I think he's good enough that he has the ability to do that. And the Argos are also favored by 2.5. Yeah. And I don't know whether he's liked in that locker room or not. I have no idea. And just so you know, I don't want to know. I got more than enough people trying to offer me information on Chad Kelly. I'm like, I'm done. I don't want to know. I'm going to go by what I see. And what I see is he's a hell of a quarterback with a lot of motivation. Should be enough. Still hasn't convinced Darren, but that's okay. Hamilton at Winnipeg Friday. The Bombers favored by 8. I can go right now and say I got the Bombers to win. Hamilton can't get out of its own way.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. We can move on. Winnipeg will win.
Yeah? Okay. Well, we said that about BC last week. Just saying.
We did.
Which, to be honest, the fans yesterday said, yeah, Sask-Toronto game of the week, no doubt. But a very close number 2 is BC at Ottawa. And we had a wonderful update last hour with AJ Jakubic, the voice of the Red Blacks, on that. BC's favored by a point. AJ said he's seen Ottawa favored by a point in some spreads. This is what you call a pick'em, ladies and gentlemen. Convince me, Darren, what I should pick, because I really don't know. I'm not really leaning either way on this one. I don't know.
BC, they're both good football teams. This is going to be a great game and maybe the hardest game to pick of the entire week. For BC, Nathan Rourke will be a week better, and he's going to be really motivated after, what happened last week. No doubt. And he'll have more familiarity with the offense, more familiarity with them, and nobody looking over his shoulder. Vernon Adams isn't ready to go yet. They're targeting maybe touchdown Pacific. But Ottawa's a good football team. And Jeremiah Masoli is not their number 1 quarterback, but he came in and had the great story last week. Well, they get Drew Brown back this week. Drew Brown has been playing really well. Young quarterback. They now have their starter back, so they should be better than they were last week. This, for me, is a really tough game because I like, Ottawa. They play great special teams, coached really well, and they're at home.
So you're picking?
Give me Ottawa.
Perfect, because I'm taking BC. And you convinced me of that. I'll tell you why. Again, the more I move around, talking to the odds makers literally in Las Vegas, as I'm talking to you right now, I asked those guys, what do you use? And one of the way more than stats is motivation. And Ottawa came off that thrilling win, walk-off win in Calgary last week. They've been drunk on the euphoria all week of that game. BC crap the bed. They're going to be pretty motivated to go into Ottawa and win. Right? So for that reason, I got BC. I know. That's how close that is. See why that could be the game of the week. And then Edmonton at Montreal probably should save the Elks the airfare and just stay home. I'm taking Montreal. Yeah, any chance of an upset by you?
I don't know if I've seen anywhere like where Trey Ford's at. And is he going to play? Because this game, they played once in June. It was a 3-point win for Montreal. It was part of all those really close losses for Edmonton. And this Elks team is much better than they were back in June. So for that reason, I'm like, geez, Edmonton's got a real shot here. And if they win, they're going to put the league on notice. But I just can't. Cody Fajardo's going to start. Montreal's going to be better than they were last week. And they're still winning. There's no way I could go against Montreal.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can. Okay, RP and DD both have Montreal. So that's a fun segment, the pick. We used to do the Deal or no deal with Bet Regal, but that's not happening anymore with the point spreads. But hey, straight up is fun, probably more fun. And we'll be doing that for the NFL. By the way, back major news today, Rutger McGroarty, the disgruntled forward out of Nebraska, being traded by the Winnipeg Jets to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Braden Yager of the Moose Jaw Warriors. Which, by the way, have you noticed nobody's argued with me on that assessment of Braden Yager as Nathan McKinnon 2.0? Nobody. So I appreciate Jay Miller writing in from Winnipeg, who said the Jets should have got more, and I snapped. He just goes, because I'm just saying Chevy usually gets an extra player or pick in the deals he makes. That's all. Thank you for that. What I want to say is if you are, all I'll say, because you were good about it, is if you're constantly saying more, and you're never happy, more, you will never be happy. That's in NHL trades and life. That's all. Rich in Edmonton regarding A.J. Jakovic saying, what are you going to do with the lake? Look at the lake for 5 hours? Come to the football game. Rich says, I can confirm A.J. did go to a lake for Canada's 125th birthday. Talk about a fish out of water. A.J. has spent his entire life working. You got to respect that and not living. Other than, he went to the Olympics. He goes on these soccer vacations. That's his time. For other people, they like to go to the lake. Right? That's all. But I will say spending your whole life working, I wouldn't do it again. Vince writes in regarding this McGroarty thing, not to knock Winnipeg, but it gets to be a much greater place to live when you can drive 45 minutes to get to the lake or lakes. Maybe that's why Braden Yager wants to go there, because he wants to go to the lake. I don't know. John Ohm says CFL, crazy football league. Well, there's that too, and that is why we love it. Jeff the Stamps fan says if Chad Kelly has the same game Rourke had in his return, everyone will be way harder on him. But he made that bet himself. That's kind of what Darren was saying last hour. You think that Rourke, was it Rourke-itis, or did I use that term quoting you?
You made up that term, but that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Tony in George Fox Country says, straight up is how I run my NFL pool, Rod, and it takes an average of blank wins a week to win it. The reason I say blank is there's a heart over your comment, and I can't read what it is. I don't know what you're saying. So, producer John writes in, John Gloa, says, I've never been to the lake. Many times I've been told to jump in one. I tell you what, you better start living before it's over. That's all I'll say to anybody. Start living before it's over. Oh, my God. How we start this? I feel like we're Outdoor Life Network here, Darren. Randy from Winnipeg. No, Colin in Ottawa says we do have some great lakes here in eastern Ontario / western Quebec. Just don't go swimming in the Ottawa River. It's one of the most powerful rivers in the world. Pretty sure I won't, but thanks. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in and says, Yager and McGroarty are the type of young players John Shannon spoke about yesterday. Expectations will be high. Sure, but Yager is all that. He's going to be just fine. Troy in Toronto writes in and he says, I used to like the lake, then I stopped drinking, and then the lake wasn't so fun. Just saying that might be why people like the lake so much. Maybe it's just me. I think it was just you. Allie in Texas writes in and says, Outdoor Life Network, LOL. Is there still an Outdoor Life? NHL used to be on the Outdoor Life Network. There was, yeah, I don't know if it was in Canada or not, but it was in the States. I remember somebody tweeting, I think it was Danny Heatley tweeted, if you don't remember the NHL on Outdoor Life Network, you aren't old enough to have an opinion on anything. Because they went straight from a show with a guy cutting a crocodile's tongue out to the Penguins and Senators on a Saturday night. Right from one show to the next. Allie in Texarkana says, I love going to the lake. I want to buy something when I retire and drive around to an RV when I retire and drive around to all the lake. Allie, you and I can do that because Serena does not want to. I don't get it. I like the idea of the RV. She don't. It's not a hill I'm willing to die on. There's one here in Moose Jaw for sale. I've been driving by it every day. Finally, I texted the guy. What do you want for that thing? You got the sign up in the window for sale. Texted, what do you want for this thing? He's 10 grand. 45 years old, bro. Yeah, but it's all redone on the inside.
It's custom.
Is that what they call it? Yeah. It's John, can't stop laughing when this show gets off topic. Love it. Yeah, well, that's like every day. So, we only got a minute or two left here. I have had my guy, Joe, the business manager. I got him hooked now on Lone Star Law, which you might as well call Milestone Law. You watch that show, that's how I grew up, Lone Star Law. And our brushes with the law in rural Saskatchewan. You know, you go from having booze in the back seat to a cow being stuck in a fence. That's how we grew up. And Louisiana law, if you watch that, that's how I live now. And Northwoods law, the third cousin to the family I've never lived like that. But I feel like that's like swimming in the Eastern Ottawa River, whatever the hell you call it. I never lived there, don't want to live there. Any last words, Moose?
You got to watch Bad Monkey. It's on Apple Plus, and it's starring your boy, Vince Vaughn. I'm 3 episodes in.
I heard that. Heard he's back.
Yeah, very good.
Nelson says it was U.S. only. Outdoor Life Network later changed to Versus and then changed to NBC Sports Network. It was a weird time. Ryan in upstate New York. And by the way, thanks for having me on your podcast last night. No credentials required. He says Outdoor Life Network, later known as Versus, then NBC Sports Network. Those were the days. Okay, we're good. Hey, Monty in Saskatoon, get over it. Have a great afternoon, Moose. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the game.
You bet. See ya.
We'll talk more Argos, Riders, Bombers, Ticats, and Kenny Miller when we come back, I think, with Mike Abomeshrik. We are live on YouTube today, also on the radio, WQEE, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Hi, my name's Logan Stanko.
And I'm Connor Bernard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, welcome back. I guess, have they lost all internet in Calgary? Mike Abu-Meshrik having connection issues, which is most unfortunate. I've lost my sandal, by the way. Biggest problem in my life today. So I don't even know if we're going to get him or not. It's unfortunate. 9 years spent in the Canadian Football League. Won a Grey Cup with Sask with Ken Miller. It's kind of what we wanted to do, was bring him in and tell some stories about Kenny's time, plus preview the huge matchups in the Canadian Football League this week. And we don't got him. It happens. We could squeeze him into tomorrow, but I know that's full. So life goes on. And I'm going to do a sports update here, and I guess we'll do audience participation, viewer takeover the rest of the way. How about that? Because we can go back and forth, football, hockey, football, and mix in a little baseball too. But this is a really big day for Winnipeg, our number 2 city for viewership. The Winnipeg Jets and Pittsburgh Penguins swapping top prospects in a blockbuster trade today. Sportsnet's Elliot Friedman reports that the Jets are trading Rutger McGroarty to the Penguins for fellow forward Braden Yager. The 20-year-old McGroarty was the 14th overall pick in the 2022 NHL draft. Yager, 19 years old, was taken 14th overall a year later. McGroarty had expressed reservations about his future with Winnipeg earlier this offseason, leading to general manager Kevin Cheveldayoff exploring trade options for the player. Today it happened. Braden Yager, coming off a season in which he had 35 goals, 60 assists in 57 WHL games for the Moose Jaw Warriors. The Saskatoon product helped the Warriors win the WHL championship with 27 points in 20 playoff games and added 6 more points in 4 games in the Memorial Cup. He also had 5 points in 5 games for Canada at the 2024 World Jays. He's all that. Lots going on around here. See these hockey players? All clean up in aisle 9. He's got a hockey stick in one hand and a mop in the other. See, this is what you don't know. I'm around these young hockey players all the time. It's amazing what you learn. And in Florida, I'm around the young football players, just like this. It's amazing what you learn. And there's not one person yet that has come forth and said, would you have a spill or what? They're just cleaning the floor. There's not one person yet that's come forth and said Braden Yager is not Nathan McKinnon 2.0, which is amazing. It was an NHL scout that told me that 4 years ago, and he's only gotten better. He's done nothing. He's like Bedard. He's done nothing but live up to those comparisons and those expectations. He's that kind of player. That's what you're getting, Winnipeg. Now, listen, get your comments in now. 902-518-3033 on everything we've been talking about today while I finish up this sports update. Okay? Because I want to have a back and forth with you on all these things. The CFL games, which you're into, the hockey talk, NFL tonight, what you'll be watching on the final weekend of the preseason. I can handle it. The Toronto Blue Jays are back in action tonight as they kick off a 4-game series with the visiting LA Angels. Toronto opened their 7-game homestand by dropping 2 of 3 to Cincinnati. But the Jays did post a 3-game sweep of the Angels when the teams met last week in Anaheim. This sports update is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at SeatGiant.ca. And, of course, as always, for Landmark Cinemas, it's Seniors Day every Monday at Landmark Cinemas. Get more of the movies you love every Monday for less. Seniors get 20% off the posted seniors admissions price. And to sweeten the deal, 20% off at the concession, too. So make Mondays your movie day because a great deal never gets old. Check your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes and pricing. Patrolman Pete writes in and says, apparently with 4 years of junior under his belt, Jagger is AHL eligible this season, so we may be seeing him in Winnipeg this season in a Moose jersey. Yeah, I think Moose Jaw can say goodbye to Braden Jagger. That's all. This is interesting. John says, any consideration to being a sports agent, Rod? Just curious. I was offered that job by a couple of sports agencies back in the day. And you don't understand. It's like anybody who thinks being a broadcaster is being Bob Uecker in Major League. It really isn't. Everybody thinks being an agent is being Jerry Maguire. It ain't. Unless you really, really love it and really want to work a real long time. And as you may know, Lee Steinberg, the guy who the character Jerry Maguire was patterned after, has become a really close friend of mine. We're brothers in recovery. Read his book sometime, Agent. I didn't need to read the book to know I didn't want to be an agent. Let's put it this way. I didn't want to be hanging around outside Bantam hockey dressing room. That's not how I wanted to spend my time. Everybody wants to come in and wear the nice suits and fly and go to NHL games and sit in the luxury suites. I knew that wasn't the way it worked. I knew that. So I appreciated them for offering. Nope. I'm doing just what I want to do. And, by the way, you talk about this hockey business and the agents, or the scouts. My dad's boss with the Dallas Stars for the full 26 years he was, almost the full 26 years that he was there, was Les Jackson, who's now senior advisor with the Florida Panthers. So one Christmas, I was at my mom and dad's in Milestone, Saskatchewan. It was minus 47 degrees out of doors. And Les Jackson was there at my mom and dad's in Milestone, Saskatchewan. He was going out the door into that cold night, minus 47, to get on a plane and fly to Norway to the World Juniors. I'm like, nope. Nope. Not interested. Didn't want to be a scout. You can't just walk in and do the things you want to do at the entry level in any of these things. You got to do the things you don't want to do. And if you pass those tests, then you get to go up a level. I meant to say this to Darren on the phone this morning, but I forgot. I'll say it to you now. There's no elevator to the top. There's no elevator to success. Bing! You got to take the stairs. Takes a long time. And I wasn't willing to do that to be an agent or a scout. I'd do it in this because I enjoy it. Bomber Boy says if Chad Kelly lays another egg, will he blame it on a phantom concussion again? Oh, I like the way you think. And we're going to have to take a break and come back in overtime and all of this. But that's why I said earlier this week, and I say these things, I've learned so much in the field of change that I can see it when people are serious about changing and when they're not serious about changing. And that's why with Chad Kelly, that's why I said talk's cheap. He's talking a really good game. But have you really changed? The 9 turnovers in the East Final last year and you blamed it on your concussion? You seemed fine all week and then you were concussed? Something wasn't right, we can tell you that. Something wasn't right between your ears, that's for sure. Are you going to blame stuff on other things? As Bomber Boy said, everybody's going to be watching. The pressure on Chad Kelly tonight is immense. And I don't know how he's going to perform. That's why I can't wait for kickoff. That's why I can sit here and just deflect away these haters' comments. They're literally nothing. As a professional with a certification in grief, stress, and trauma management, I'm too busy dealing with the Millers and the loss of Kenny yesterday to worry about what these losers have to say. We'll be coming right back with full-on viewer takeover, okay? So give me your best stuff. We'll be right back on Key Radio, WQEE 99.1 FM, streaming on YouTube, of course, and also Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
BL continued to grow this summer. 12 teams, 2 provinces, pacing towards 400,000 fans, an all-time high in 2024. The WCBL had a record number of players drafted in this summer's Major League Baseball draft. 2024 playoffs start August 7th.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Yeah, the studio is this beautiful Golden Ticket Sports Center in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. As people said, didn't know Moose Jaw had such a beautiful sports center. That's why we're here. They want to advertise it. And Overtime, speaking of advertising, Overtime is brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. I'm sure Randy and Michelle are watching now. Hockey players, are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Look no further than Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. With state-of-the-art shooting lanes and top-notch equipment, it's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels. Whether you're prepping for the big game or just want to have some fun, Overtime Hockey Lanes has got you covered. 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. So I said, bring the comments with regards to, John Ohm and Winnipeg asked if I ever wanted to be an agent. I had a chance to be an agent, and I said, no thanks, because I knew what it would take. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says, man, an agent would be terrible. All the high-paid guys have big egos, and getting in between a spat between player and team, awful. No. Some guys want to do that. This wasn't for me. Big one here is Colin in Ottawa says sports agents steal each other's clients all the time and then smile and are all buddy-buddy with each other. Got to be ruthless and knife peers in the back a lot. Yep. Wayne in BC, he had a good one here because I don't think there's any perfect job, but I will say I think Rod's job right now is as good as any I've seen. Yep. What did I say earlier this week? Been in this game a long time, and I saw a lot of bad guys getting ahead. And I thought, well, maybe I got to be a bad guy. I tried that for a while. Nope. Didn't last. Can't do it. If that's what it takes to get ahead, I don't want to get ahead. I'll get ahead just fine over here. Allie in Texarkana says, it looks like walking a beat. It sounds like walking a beat as a cop. I wanted to be a detective. I didn't want to be a street cop first. Yeah. You're getting it. It's like what John Shannon yesterday said, how the collective bargaining agreement in the NHL has not caught up to the young players and how good they are coming into the NHL, younger than they've ever been. The hockey people know this. Connor Bedard came into the NHL ready. He was probably ready at 17. I'm not joking, but he was darn sure ready at 18. CBA came in 2013. It's like the law not catching up to technology in the real world. I'm just saying there's parallels, and she got it, and I got what John Shannon was saying yesterday. Bill Edwards, here's an interesting one. He says, go, Argos, go. Well, he's originally from, where'd you say, Whitby, Ontario? Isn't that the home of Eric Lindros? But he lives in Regina, so when his two teams play, he's an Argo fan first. How about that? Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the CFL week is always a little off when the Stampeders aren't playing, but there is much intrigue. Nelson says Kelly is an interesting case. Chad Kelly came in off the bench in a Grey Cup and won it. No pressure. How does he hear? It'll be interesting. Incidents like this, increased media and attention can wreck players. I would say there might have been a smidge of pressure to come in a Grey Cup and win a game. I don't know. Bomber Boy says Ottawa needs to be careful not to get caught in a quarterback controversy. Worry about your own team. That's what I would say to that. Jen at the Four Seasons says, I hope Chad Kelly finds himself on his back instead of his feet. LOL. Go Riders. Carlos in Indianapolis says, great show, everyone. We'll be ready for more tomorrow. Oh, yeah. I haven't even delved into the game notes for the Ticats and the Bombers yet. Too busy with the delicious ones from the Riders and the Argos. And that's, it's funny. Tony from George Fox Country writes in and wanted to know my thoughts on the Cowboys and the Browns. What? Maybe I should send you my bracelet that says one day at a time, Cowboy. I haven't even No. Nope. Stacy at Access World Headquarters writes in and says, Swami says, Brett Lowther kicks 6 field goals to lead the Riders to a 25-17 win over the Argos. The crown remains in Florida. I'll be wearing it when I get back. Glenn in Medicine Hat says, as much as those in the hockey world occasionally sing Kumbaya together, it's true that not everybody is everybody's buddy. No, it just looks like it. Look at Doug Armstrong and the heel to the teeth of the Edmonton Oilers this week. They're not all in it together. I remember the CFL meetings in Banff. I was just thinking about it when I was in Banff last week. And they were having meetings there, and I was there. And Randy Ambrosi sat down at the table, and I said, what are you guys talking about? What are you working on, Randy? And he goes, well, we're trying to get the teams to work together for the good of the league. I'm like, good luck. They're all out trying to knife each other in the heart. From the back and the front and the side, if they could. That's just sports. That's just the way that people are. I don't know if the rest of the world is like that, but it seems to be. Not the recovery world, however. We all work together for the good of human beings, and it works really well. It's also incredibly rare. That's why I like that more. Colin in Ottawa says, I saw MLSE do some cross-promotion between the Argos and Leafs. Good sign. The new MLSE boss, Keith Pelly, plans on investing in the Argos and some marketing. Keith Pelly's a real one now. He used to come down to the bench before Argos games at Skydome, and we would talk sports and all the rest. They'll be good under him. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Who has more fun than us?